So the big question is this: how do you lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off for the rest of your life, while trying to make sense of all the noise that comes from the weight loss industry? That is the question. And this podcast will give you the answers.
G'day guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Weight Loss Secrets podcast. My name is Baron Grant and I'm wrapped for you to be on with me again so we can go through some tips and tricks and ideas of things that are going to help you to be able to lose all the weight you want and keep it off for the rest of your life. Now, today, you might notice if you're watching on YouTube, probably not so much if you're listening, but if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that my hair is not done and my shirt is not ironed. We don't have any power in our house right now, and so our power got switched off at 8:30 this morning, which we forgot about. You know, when you get told about it like 2 weeks before, and then we completely forgot that it was today. So there was no power. So I haven't been able to have a shower, and my hair goes all different ways. It's dead straight, but it goes on different angles and all over the place. So it's a mess. And I was like, oh, I've got to have a shower. So I went to have a shower, and there's no hot water, and we can't cook things. Anyway, so there's no power in our home. And I was like, oh man, I've got no time because later on I've got to go and take my son to footy training. And so, now was my time to be able to record this podcast. And I'd made a commitment that every day, I was going to record a podcast. Now, today the circumstances weren't ideal because I didn't really want to get on a picture, on a video with my hair not done, which I really need to soak to be able to do anything with it. And my shirt not ironed. But I just sort of went, well, it's not ideal. I can't even set up a light or anything really. So I've got the big window open and try and get as much light in as I can. But it's not ideal, but the reality is I made it a conscious decision that no matter the circumstances, I was going to actually get on and do this podcast every single day. So I'm doing it. Doesn't matter if I look like a mess, I'm doing it anyway. And that's the message that I want to sort of talk through when it comes to weight loss today. Because sometimes our circumstances are not ideal. They're not where we want them to be. Sometimes we want our lives to tick along perfectly and then we can lose weight because then it becomes a little easier. Just yesterday, a lady that I'm working with, Cheryl, she's a ripper. So on the program at the moment, she's doing really well every day, and then she had to travel from Darwin to Adelaide. And the plane had issues and someone got sick, and anyway, she ended up being on a plane all day long. And when I spoke to her in the evening, she said, oh, Baron, I've done like 500 steps. So we had a discussion about that because she'd been sitting on a plane, but you could look at that and go, well, I couldn't do anything else. And then about half an hour later, she sends me a message and going, that's it, I'm going out. I want to bang out at least 6,000 steps. And I was like, that is the attitude, because her circumstances for the day were not good. She had to sit down the vast majority of the day, but she made the decision at the end of the day, stuff it, I'm out of here, I'm going. And she did. And she went out and punched out about 7,500 steps for the day. She did the best that she could based on her situation. But what I want to highlight today is sometimes our circumstances are not ideal. They're just not where we want them to be. Crap stuff happens. I speak with mums all the time who are crazy busy. And mums in particular that have young, like really young children, so they can't leave them at home and they need to go out for a walk. And they say to me, Baron, I literally just can't go out for a walk. And I get that because they can't leave their house. If they don't have a treadmill at home, how are they supposed to get a walk in? And, they can push a pram and drag another one along beside her, but that doesn't work so well sometimes. And so if they can't get those times, I say, well, what's the alternative? What's another way? And another way is to turn on YouTube at home and watch a walking video. Sounds ridiculous. There are walking videos on YouTube, right? And you can do a walking video for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and you have a bunch of different ways that you walk, but you're watching someone do it aerobics old style like. Do you know what I mean? But it's a walking video, and all it does is it allows you to move in the comfort of your own home. And so that's what I encourage people to do. In addition to that, I remember one time, or as an example, I should say, one time my wife Davina a few years ago was trying to drop some extra weight, and I remember one night she was trying to get her steps in. She made a commitment that she was never going to miss her step number that she wanted to hit. But the circumstances weren't ideal. She was crazy busy doing a bunch of things and she was stuck. So what she was doing is she would fold one piece of clothing, walk it to the bedroom, put it in the drawer, walk back out of the bedroom at the other end of the house and fold the next piece of clothing. And what that did, it got her steps up. She felt like she was being more active. And she just did it, you know what I mean? She just found a way to get it done. Today's not ideal. I wanted to have a shower and get myself all set before I did this podcast. Normally I have my desk that I raise up, but that is plugged into the wall, and so that didn't work either. So I've just rigged up a little thing with a box and a book on top, and so that I can just have the camera so I can talk to it. So sometimes you just got to find another way. A few years ago, I wrote a book, and it was called Do It Anyway. And it was all about overcoming challenges in our life. No matter the challenges that are there, you overcome them and keep pushing forward and act in spite of those challenges. And as I did that, as I wrote that book, then I started to interview some people about experiences that they'd had in their lives. And it was super eye-opening to me and gave me a lot of inspiration. Not because of anything I did, because I didn't do anything special, but these guys that I spoke to were quite amazing. They had crap things happen in their life over and over again. But what they chose to do was not allow those crap things to determine who they were or what they could achieve. So you might have stuff going on in your life right now where it might seem insurmountable to be able to lose weight, but you've just got to put the process in place and do it anyway, no matter what. I remember one of those guys was a guy named Gary. And Gary used to work for me, actually. He was a personal trainer when he worked for me at the gym. But he had one leg that he lost earlier in his life. But I remember one time Gary came and did an event with me called Tough Mudder, which is a 20-kilometer adventure race that had loads of activities, like, you know, all these challenges to go through, crawling through mud and getting electrocuted and climbing over things and climbing under things and all this type of stuff. But he did that on his crutches, and that is 20 kilometers on his crutches. It took him 7 hours to complete, but you know what? He did it anyway. Was his circumstance perfect? Nope. He had one leg and he had to do it on crutches. A much harder experience than the vast majority of the people that were in that event. But he did it anyway and had an amazing experience and was really grateful that he did it. This is the same guy, by the way, that climbed Machu Picchu on his crutches as well. So he's a bit crazy cakes and I love him. He's just a legend. But that is a great attitude. It doesn't matter what's happening in our lives. We still make the decisions about what we do. It doesn't matter what's happening in your life. You still make the decisions about what you do when it comes to food. Some people ask me questions about this and they say, oh, I don't know if now's a good time to start, Baron. When should I start? You know, my wedding's coming up or my birthday's coming up and I've got this going on and that going on. When should I start? When should I start to try and lose weight? And I'm like, stop looking for a perfect time. There isn't one. There's never a perfect time. You've just got to go now and go and get it done. So think about your life right now. Are you going to get it done? Is that what you're doing? Or are you just floating around the edges doing bits of this, bits of that, trying this, trying that? Or are you committing no matter what? I didn't want to record this podcast today until I'd done my hair and put a decent shirt on, but I didn't have that situation today. So I did it anyway. And now it might not be quite as good. The picture might not be as good. The audio might not quite be as good, whatever, but I needed to get it done. My question to you is, in our mess of lives, are you still getting it done? What are those 4 things that I always talk about? You need a positive mindset, clean eating, water and walking. If you do those things every day, you'll get all the way to your goal weight and more, but you do have to do them every day, no matter what. Because, and this, we never should forget this, we can't let circumstances dictate what we do, because our bodies will gain weight if we eat crap. Our bodies will lose weight if we eat the right stuff. It doesn't matter whether we're happy, sad, busy, grumpy, frustrated, anything like that. None of it matters. But we have to do it no matter the circumstances that we're facing on that day. There's no outs. So if you want to win, there's no outs. It doesn't matter your circumstances. You got no electricity, do it anyway. That's the message for today. Even if you can't wash your hair and have a shower, do it anyway. You got to get it done. I've got every belief that you can keep getting it done. Just keep your head in that right place. Get up and keep moving.